I've always considered myself a bit of a scientist, and I'll bring you back to grade school now for a few moments. We all know about photosynthesis. Light comes from the sun, the carbon dioxide goes into the plants, and plants grow, and they produce leaves and petals and stems and roots and all of the plant materials. Those are called primary metabolites. And yet we've said a few moments ago that when you walk into the woods, you smell a wonderful fragrance, a bouquet of aromatic compounds. Now, it should be obvious, in order for you to be experiencing them, they have to leave the plant. They were produced by the plant, but I'm not smelling them here, although I may also smell them there. I'm smelling them all around. So why would a plant take the effort, use the energy to produce something and then have that something leave the plant? Those compounds that are leaving the plant are called secondary metabolites, as opposed to the primary metabolites that are the plant itself. There are many reasons why a plant would make a secondary metabolite, even though it takes energy and does not become part of the plant itself. So I'll give you an example. If I were a plant, maybe you would find that there are insects on it that are eating the plant, and that's deleterious to the plant. And so how does a plant protect itself? One way is to emit a fragrance that is attractive to birds, because maybe the birds would eat the caterpillars. And so the fragrance is emitted from the plant as a secondary metabolite, attracts a bird, and the bird eats the caterpillars that are eating the plant. That is merely one of many, many examples of why a plant would make a secondary metabolite. So what does this have to do with you, with me, with humans in general? Millions of years ago, we lived in the woods, in places like this, and as we grew up, we were constantly smelling these secondary metabolites. And our human physiology became used to them. We're all familiar with homeostasis. Ideally, your temperature is 98.6 degrees. Your blood pressure is 120/80. When you go to the physician, they take blood, and you have a variety of blood chemistries that all have to stay within very narrow ranges in order for you to have optimal health. That is the concept of homeostasis. We're also familiar with things like essential amino acids. There's many amino acids, and some of them our bodies can make. And some of them we have to eat because our bodies have lost the ability to make them. Now let's talk about the secondary metabolites. The most common one that we'll be discussing over time are terpenes, and there are tens of thousands of different terpenes. And many of them have names that may sound a little bit familiar to you. There's limonene, there's pinene. Some of them are a little less familiar, beta-caryophyllene, for instance. But these terpenes, these secondary metabolites, have been breathed by humans for millions of years, and our bodies became used to them. Our bodies need these terpenes in order to function properly. And now, in the 21st century, with the majority of people living in cities, not only is there polluted air, which is bad enough, but possibly even more important than the polluted air is the, I'll call it, sterile air. The air that does not have the secondary metabolites that our bodies are used to. With Monk Personal Aromatherapy, we've given you an opportunity to breathe the same secondary metabolites, the same terpenes that are available in the woods and that were available to our ancestors for millions of years. We bring you back to nature. We allow you to feel nature.